You're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
Say, Jill. It's the champagne.
It's time for the Owen Frank Noodles Show. You can reach the show 954-990-0036. You can reach the show on Twitter at ON Noodles Show or at HalfMoon20. It's time for the Owen Frank Noodles Show on SoFloRadio.com.
You know everything, Taylor. Don't rush to the bar, fool, if you ain't got no paper. That's the rules. High as fuck, sloppy drunk when I'm passing through. Rolling doobies up, yo, who we pass them to? Hit the club, spend this money up.
So you listen to the Owen Frank Noodle Show on SoFloRadio.com. You can reach us at 954-990-0036. We got a pretty good show today. Coming up, nice little lineup. We're going to be talking a little Dolphin talk. Obviously, the Tannehill, Matt Moore, little Canes talk. It's the last week of Derek Jeter's professional baseball career. We'll get into that for a little bit. And we do our last segment always of What's on Your Mind, so we're going to get into that. But first thing we're going to discuss is the Miami Dolphins, obviously, because they are the home team here, and they played a football game, or they attempted to play a football game this Sunday, which was a disaster. And now there's this huge controversy out there right now. Well, not controversy, but, you know, the whole thing is Matt Moore going to start in London against the Raiders. Does Tannehill get another shot? And then we discussed this during the bye week. I mean, what is going on with this team right now? And Tannehill, you know, he's just not progressing. And I think the problem here is that Philbin realizes that if he doesn't win football games, he's going to be out of a job. Regardless, I think he's out of a job regardless what happens next year. But I think he sees the writing on the wall. I think he knows that if he doesn't win football games, he's out. And, Frank, you've talked about Matt Moore being probably the better serviceable quarterback to win games. You brought that up before the season even started.
Correct.
And I mean, I think Philbin sees it right now, and he has to react to it, and he's worried about winning football games. And Matt Moore probably gives us a better shot to win games.
Well, he's just trying to save his job at this point.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, 100%.
And I think that, I mean, what's going on here right now is Tannehill is right now with a new offensive coordinator. He's had to pretty much press the reset button. It's bad enough that he had never played quarterback that long when he was in college. But now he has to start with a new offensive coordinator. Mike Sherman was the only offensive coordinator that he knew in college and in the pros. So now you kind of stunted his whole development.
Correct.
And I don't really think that he is a natural quarterback to begin with. I mean, you can just tell out there. I mean, not to change the subject, but, I mean, I think Brad Kaya looked more like a comfortable quarterback in the game on Saturday than Tannehill has looked all this season.
Well, you bring up a point that I've been thinking about all day, where I think that Tannehill, when he got to the Miami Dolphins, I was one of those people that I thought he should have sat on the bench for about 2 years. And the only reason why I thought that is because when you're a quarterback, I'd say a majority of them, 75%, they're quarterbacks in high school. So they go through that journey. They learn the system in high school. When they're seniors, they've basically mastered how to run an offense in a high school environment. Then they go to college, and they go through the same process, whether they quarterback for 4 years or 2 years. But for at least if they're sitting down their freshman and sophomore year, they're learning, they're throwing, they're playing quarterback. They graduate, they go to the pros, they're a quarterback in the pros, and now it's just another process they need to master. But their mentality, their mindset is, okay, we've gone through here, we've gone through elementary, we've gone through middle school, now we're here. You know what I'm saying? Tannehill's never experienced that. He was a receiver. So in essence, right now, if you were looking at college experience, he would be a senior in college. Does he have the talent? Can he make the throws?
No,
he has the physical ability. He just doesn't know how to play the game of football from the quarterback position.
He doesn't know how to play quarterback. He's just not a natural when it comes to it. He's just an athlete out there throwing passes. That's
Correct.
how I see him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's not instinctively. He just doesn't make the decisions. It's just he hasn't played the position long enough where you can know how he can bring his talent to maximum. And, I mean, at this point right now, I think that they pretty much messed up his career already.
Absolutely. How many quarterbacks out there could you say have really never really played in college, and then all of a sudden they just come to the NFL and they succeed? I mean,
No, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
And then how many do you know that played 4 years in college, that even got to the NFL and struggled? Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers sat 3 years. Well, he sat because Brett Favre was there. But you see what I'm saying? There has to be a learning curve for this kid.
Learning curve,
and
yeah.
he's had none. Now we can't. I mean, at the end of the day, it's. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that we can't make a decision and start a new quarterback because of this. But the Miami Dolphins, as an organization, have to understand, which they don't, that they dropped the ball, big time. I mean, that they drafted him, okay, whatever. You took a shot on a guy that you think was a project. But if he was a project, which that's what they said when they drafted him, then why would you start him in the first season?
No, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous is what it is. I mean, listen, and right now, this whole thing right now with Noshawn Moreno going out, I think this has affected Tannehill a great deal as well, because I think personally, Noshawn Moreno was the best player on that offense. And as far as picking up blitzes and just helping out Tannehill, just easing him out, Lamar Miller doesn't bring to the table what Noshawn Moreno did.
No, I know what you're talking about. Even though Lamar Miller has played very good, as of late, but it's different. He's not the leader that Noshawn Moreno is.
He's not as well rounded as Noshawn Moreno.
Exactly. He's not polished. Noshawn Moreno knows that if he checks off to this, Noshawn might even turn to Tannehill and tell him, hey, this is what's going to happen.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? He knows the game. And you're right. Lamar Miller's just going to be in the backfield like, okay, I'm going to get the ball now. Here we go.
Right.
It's totally different.
He's not going to give his opinion.
Exactly.
On a play or try to help out Tannehill.
Absolutely.
He doesn't have that veteran presence that a Noshawn Moreno has.
No, I agree 100%. That's a very good point by you. And Noshawn is that guy that will be like, hey, you look, the linebacker's here. The mic is here. Look for, he's going to help him out.
He's played with Peyton Manning.
Yeah. And he has a mindset totally different.
Correct.
And you bring up a good point. So in the offensive huddle, who does he turn to, the quarterback, to get any type of leadership like that if Noshawn's not there? Wallace? No.
I think he's going to go to Hartline.
Hartline.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And Hartline is, I mean, imagine, he's a limited receiver.
Yeah.
He has to run the perfect route, has to be in the perfect coverage with the perfect throw for him to get it.
So, exactly. So, we're back to, so then the question is this. So what is Matt Moore going to bring to the table that Tannehill doesn't?
Matt Moore brings you more of what I call a better instinctive quarterback. Someone who's going to get the play out as quickly as possible, isn't going to think about it. They don't have to design plays for him. I mean, his ceiling is what it is. Matt Moore is who he is. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl. But I think if this team gets hot with Matt Moore, I mean, for as weak as the AFC East is, I mean, you might get 8-8, 9-7, somewhere along those lines, and you could get into the wild card. I don't think with Tannehill right now, there's no way possible that they're going to win more than 5 or 6 games, because he just looks that lost in this offense. And I mean, I've totally lost faith in the kid already. Like, I've seen enough already. I mean, he is just stumbling right now. There's no decisiveness. He's playing without confidence. And, I mean, in this whole thing now with Marino, that he says that he's not happy with how they've progressed Tannehill. I mean, what's that about? What's your opinion on that?
Well, let's go to the sound that we have for that, if we have it right there. We have it? We go with sound? There it is.
Quarterback, Marino's done a lot to develop a relationship with Tannehill. He's worked out with him. He's spent a lot of time with him. He's evaluating him. Same thing goes for Joe Philbin. I don't know that the relationship is quite as close, but I will say this. Dan Marino, not exactly happy with the last 2 minutes of the Buffalo game in the first half, when the Dolphins allowed 2 minutes to basically run out at the end of the first half and waste an opportunity to get back in that game. He saw the game completely roll out of control. That's not the kind of thing that's going to impress Marino. And in terms of the handling of the quarterback, this is the kind of thing that Marino is going to look at and say, look, you want to be definitive with your quarterback no matter what. You want to tell him, is he starting? Is he not? And what Joe Philbin did yesterday, I would say, did not impress Dan Marino.
So that's Jason Cole from Bleacher Report. And he was getting interviewed, and Jason Cole he's an insider. He used to actually write for the Herald. So he knows the Miami Dolphins very well. And he brings up a point that Dan Marino is not happy the way Philbin is handling the situation. Now, we know that Marino all of a sudden is now the special advisor to the team owner, and the team owner has given him a task, which is to basically to evaluate Ryan Tannehill as a quarterback of the future, and also to evaluate the head coach, Joe Philbin. And here we have Dan Marino, who arguably is the best player to ever play in the franchise, basically back up. Well, he hasn't really backed up Tannehill. He's just concerned of how Philbin handled the situation. Now, we're not inside to know. We're going to assume, right? I'm going to assume. Frank is going to assume. But, yeah, I have a little bit of an issue with maybe the way Philbin has handled Tannehill.
Well, first of all, listen, Joe Philbin is inept as a head coach. I mean, and if you don't think so, then you don't know what you're watching. You don't know football. Because there's many coaches that get to teams and you see quick turnarounds right away. Okay? You saw that down here when Parcells got here with Sperano. In 1 year, bam, you won 9-10 games off a terrible record.
With a terrible team, by
right?
The way. With not a very good team,
right? Harbaugh got to the 49ers in the first year. He got Alex Smith as a functional quarterback, got him to the NFC Championship game. I mean, there's so many coaches that get to places when you're a good coach and you see the turnaround right away.
Correct. I agree.
Philbin has had 3 years already. I mean, what is this guy doing? I mean, he can't stick to anything, and he looks like one of those guys that you can't pin anything on him. You try and tell him something, and he's like, he tries to dance around everything that you say always, and he's not assertive. I don't think he's a head coach personally. I think he's maybe an assistant. You could tell from when we saw the HBO show, which was what's the name of the HBO?
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks. That the guy's a meticulous organizer, but as far as a head coach presence, I mean, he's not that guy. So, I mean, and now this whole thing with Dan Marino, I've never heard of this role before of team advisor. I mean, just roaming around. So what? He can come out in the media and supersede what the coach says. I mean, that's just strange. It's very Dolphin-like. And let me tell you something. As much as I respect Marino as a player, nothing that he's ever done or said after he retired, I've respected anything that he said. If you've heard him as an analyst on CBS, he never says anything. I've heard him on the Joe Rose show when he used to have that hour special with Joe Rose, the worst hour of radio you could ever listen to in your life. He never sticks or claims that. He kind of sounds like Philbin when he talks. You can never pin him on anything. He never says anything about anybody. He's just all over the place. So, I mean, as him being an advisor, I mean, I kind of shrug my shoulders to that too, and I'm like, okay.
Well, the reason why I think Marino is there is because I think the owner of the team, Stephen Ross, he doesn't know football. Let's be honest. The guy's a businessman. He has no idea what he's doing. So the few people that he's had by his side have let him down. Ireland let him down. Obviously, Philbin right now doesn't seem to be the right fit for this team. He's not doing the job that we would expect him to do. Has let him down. So he's reached out to Dan Marino, and Dan Marino's always wanted to come back to Miami Dolphins and be part of the team, but he didn't. He still wants to have his freedom and his little schedule. So they bring him on as a special advisor. Okay. And it almost like he's a rat. Like almost like he's walking around. He's trying to rat people out.
That's what he is. Exactly. That's a good way to put it. He's
pretty
a rat.
Funny. It's yeah. But at the end of the day, he is Dan Marino, and he has played the position at the highest level.
Okay. So make him the quarterback coach then.
I don't know if he could do that.
Make him the quarterback coach.
But I wonder. Well, yeah, that'll be interesting. But I don't think he'll be able to do that. But I don't think he has because just because you played the position doesn't mean you can quarterback coach.
And Marino was never a film guy.
Well, he wasn't. He was the type of guy that went out there and played the game by feel.
Yeah.
He had enough talent to do that, and he had enough of the brains to do it, which people underestimate how smart Marino was on a football field. Plus, he had the talent. He had this arm that could just put the ball anywhere. But he was able to see it before he could deliver the pass, which was important. But Marino has credibility because of who he is. It might not sound where he said on CBS when he was on CBS as an analyst, whatever, but he has credibility. He's played the position. Certain quarterbacks want to be handled a certain way. He has met with Tannehill. They've become friends. I have a problem, too, with this guy not making a decision. If you're not going to start him, don't start him. Don't say that. You just say it. Look, he's not starting. We're gonna reevaluate the situation. You know, we're gonna have an open competition. Whatever. Or if he's gonna start him, start him.
I mean, I didn't see any point in that either. And I mean, what happens now in London? Now, if Tannehill comes out and plays a great game, what do you do the following week? Or what do you do if he plays a horrible game? I mean, I have no idea. He got the snaps with the first team today, so I mean,
I would start Tannehill in London. Okay, and then the bye week is week 5.
Correct.
And then at that point in time,
you decide.
You evaluate how he does. And now, what's skewed is this. Well, the Raiders' defense isn't bad. It's their offense that's terrible. So you could see, like, if they don't go to London and he doesn't put up 24 to 30 points on the board, offensive points, and he looks solid, then during that bye week, you have to turn around and be like, listen, we're going to open it up, or we're going to start Matt Moore in week 6.
I will go with Matt Moore at this point. I mean, unless Tannehill just comes out against the Raiders and just blows up and throws for 300 yards and wins the game by himself, which I doubt will happen because he's just does not look comfortable in this offense. It's a very quick read offense. It's a very fast-paced offense, and I don't think the game still has not slowed down for him. So, I mean, we're going to see what happens. But, I mean, why did the NFL send the Dolphins and the Raiders to London? I mean, what kind of a game is
Like, for real, if you're going over there, like if you live there, you're like, oh my God, we finally get to see an NFL team. And you see these two muerto teams, you're like, what is going on?
I mean, can you think of a worse game than that? Maybe Tampa Bay with somebody else? With Tampa Bay with
who knows?
Well, they do say that that London, the Dolphins are one of the more popular teams in London.
All right.
That's true.
Okay.
Well, they are. That is true. But
I mean, you're trying to showcase the NFL in London.
Yeah, people are gonna walk out of there like,
you're gonna send the Dolphins and the Raiders over there? Are you serious?
Yeah, no bueno.
Yeah.
Send the Seahawks over there.
No, that's who you send over there. You send the Seahawks.
Yeah, you send a good game. It could be anything. It could be a Cowboys Redskins game.
Broncos.
Yeah, it could be
the Cowboys.
You can send the Steelers Ravens game, but the thing is, those games you can't take those games away from the rivalry. Imagine if you're a Steelers fan and all of a sudden your home game that you're looking forward to between Baltimore and Pittsburgh is being played in London. You're like, the hell?
Well,
with
that's
that?
true. That's true.
So there's certain, but yeah, you could easily send over there. You know, you could send a Chargers Green Bay game, which is not a rivalry interconference game.
But that's going to be a well-played game.
Well played, exactly. You know, you got two good quarterbacks. No, it's the other two teams you can send out there that I think are terrible would be like Houston and Tampa Bay.
Or the Jets and the Buccaneers.
Oof. But hey, homeboy didn't play bad last night.
Yeah, who? Geno Smith?
Geno Smith didn't play bad, man.
He looks good at moments, and then when he messes up, he looks really bad.
But he's progressing, I think. And I agree with you. There's times that he looks good. You're like, hey, this guy looks like... And then you're like, whoa, what happened there? And he got saved a couple of times last night. There are a couple of balls that have been intercepted. But I see that he's progressing. And he's starting to make some throws that I even question whether he can make them or not. He made a throw last night to Curly over the defense, which was really nice throw. I was like, that's a nice throw by that man. So
that guy has a cannon for an arm. His stature, I mean, what is he, like 6'4", 6'5"?
He looks good out there.
He can move his feet.
So,
go ahead.
Well, getting back to Dolphin talk. So Philbin is gone, I think, at the end of this year. Whether he makes the playoffs or not, unless they win the Super Bowl, which is not going to happen.
He should have been fired last year with
agree.
Ireland.
I agree. So I think they're going to clean house with him. What does the organization do with guys like Deion Jordan? Like, what are they going to do with this cat?
I think that guy's done. I mean, what is he? He's going to come back now week 8? When is that he's coming back, Frank?
6.
Week 6? I mean, unless he comes in there and just...
Well, he'll be back week 7. He has a 6-game suspension.
Right. I mean...
How do the Miami Dolphins move up in a draft to take this guy with the 3rd pick?
No, and Tannehill was... Look at the first-round draft choices that we've had here with Ireland. Vontae Davis, Ryan Tannehill. Who's the other guy that we traded away? We traded Jake Long.
Mike Pouncey.
Mike Pouncey has turned out to be one of the greatest picks he's made. But, I mean, you just keep blowing picks after picks after picks after picks. It's just, dude, at what point do you just make a pick? It's not that hard. You're in the top 10 every year. I mean, hit on a pick. Jesus Christ. It's been bad. And they just had this history for such a long time. Even when Shula was here, they couldn't draft anybody.
Ted Ginn.
Since they drafted Ted Ginn, it's been a disaster. They should have taken Patrick Willis, which they didn't, to replace Zach Thomas.
No, we could have had Aaron Rodgers on this team.
No, yeah. This is a disaster.
We could have had Drew Brees twice.
That's true. Twice.
Randy Moss. Jesus Christ. The list goes on and on with these people.
Yeah,
So,
it's pretty bad.
Yeah. No, I mean, Deion Jordan, I mean, I have him clueless on what you're going to do with this guy. I mean, because he is, I mean, that was just last year. Wrong holder, buddy. All right. We're trying to get the mic in there.
I couldn't see it.
Okay. So, we're having some technical difficulties here in the studio. So,
After all those pictures we saw.
yeah. Oh, we'll get to that later. Hope Solo. That's just a little teaser there. So, I mean, what are you going to do with Deion Jordan, no? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the guy, he did nothing last year. He wasn't even ready to play. And now this year, where they're going to put him in and he's going to shine, he's been already suspended twice. So, I mean, what do you do at this point?
At this point, it's a very simple process in my eyes.
Right.
Okay? You have the rest of this season to evaluate him. Okay?
Or trade him.
Or trade him.
Yeah.
And it's very simple. It's can you play or can you not play? If at this point the guy cannot play and he's got other issues off the field, then trade him. Get a fourth round pick for him. Whatever. Cut your losses. But I'm a person that if you're going to draft a player, okay, in the first round of the NFL draft, the only guy I'll let you get away with is if you draft a quarterback and you have to work them into the process. If you draft a D lineman, a linebacker, a tight end, that guy better work out.
No,
he better be legit.
You need to draft a player that's going to be functional on most of the downs on plays.
Correct. You can't have a specialty guy.
You can't have a specialty guy, and that's what Ireland has done in the last 2 or 3 drafts, which is Deion Jordan. He's a specialty pass rusher that can't play on every down because he really can't play the run. Tannehill, he's a receiver. He was a receiver, project quarterback. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So,
my God, I'm looking at the draft and I just almost threw up here on the mic. Do you know who was taken after Ryan Tannehill?
Who?
Luke Kuechly, the linebacker from Carolina.
Wow.
I mean, I want you guys to think about that.
No, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I remember the every time I think about Ryan Tannehill, I remember the reaction that Ireland had in the draft.
That guy's
he got up and started high-fiving Stephen Ross and Joe Philman. We got our guy. This is who we wanted. And I was like, okay. Brother.
Wow. Pobrecito. That's how bad it is. All right, guys. So if you want to call into the show, 954-990-0036. You're listening to the O and Frank Noodles Show on SoFloRadio.com.
You're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
Here's the latest ratings you asked for.
What is this? Where did all our listeners go?
SoFloRadio.com.
SoFlo, what channel is that on?
It's online, sir. Wi-Fi radio.
Oh, I see.
But what channel is it on?
Put your business on the leading edge of media advertising with the SoFloRadio.com network. Unlike antiquated AM or FM radio, your professionally produced 30 or 60-second ad will be heard live on SoFloRadio.com during the day and will be downloaded thousands of times a day on SoFloRadio.com, as well as being heard on our free podcasts on iTunes. Wi-Fi radio and Bluetooth are now available with BMW, Ford, GM Cars and Trucks. Don't get left behind. Contact SoFloRadio.com for details and our very affordable rates. SoFloRadio.com. Stay ahead of the game.
The Amigo Show with Larry Million.
Yeah, I said it. Michael Jordan was the biggest thing in the NBA. LeBron is the biggest thing in the NBA. Same type of star. I'm not going to argue who's better today. And you look at that, right, Frank? And I remember Jordan. Like, I rooted against Jordan. You know why I rooted against Jordan? Whoa! My my voice went soprano. Oh my goodness.
No, what I meant to say was when I. Do you know why I root against?
You have failed.
That's what I was trying to say.
The Amigo Show, Saturday mornings from 9 to noon, only on SoFloRadio.com.
Rock and roll is back. September 26th and 27th, it's the Button South Class Reunion 4 at Revolution Live. Featuring Stranger, Gypsy Queen, Heartless, Canaveral, Slider, Last Child, Motor, Phineas J. Whoopi, and the Hepcat Boogaddies. Plus an all-star jam featuring members of past Button South bands. You remember the Button South. So don't miss the Button South Class Reunion 4 at Revolution Live, September 26th and 27th, with your hosts, Steve Stansel, Liz Wild, Glenn Richards, Madman Mike, and Mark Allen of Race. Friday night, September 26th. Saturday night, September 27th. Revolution Live. Get ready to have your ass kicked. The Button South Class Reunion 4. Spandex, glitter, and hairspray required.
We're back to the O and Frank Noodles Show.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, we need that thumb to go this direction.
On SoFloRadio.com.
Let me tell you about the young man we just drafted. You're going to be thrilled every time you watch him as a punt returner.
A lot that we can learn from it, and I thought our guys were ready for the environment, and they were excited about it, and I thought we played hard. We just got to learn to do a couple of things better. It's just we were 70. Nebraska was 70% on third down on defense, so we couldn't get off the field. That didn't help our tackling much as we got tired in those three drives. The last two of the first half for Nebraska, and then the one to open up the second half really left us on the field. I think it was like 27 to 6 plays. So that 29 to 6, I think, actually. So we got to do a better job getting off the field. We got to do a better job tackling. Got to do a better job stopping the run.
How about we do a better job of coaching?
No, Jesus Christ.
Or to blame the kids is bad. And there were a couple missed tackles, but there's missed tackles in every game. In every game, there's missed tackles. Bro, listen. I am not a football coach, okay?
Neither am I.
I am not an expert in the sport of football. I watch it on TV like you guys are listening at home every Sunday and Saturday. And now on Thursdays and Mondays and Tuesdays, whenever they got all these football games going on. I'm that guy that sits on the couch. But I'm going to tell you one thing. If I'm playing Nebraska, I'm going to put 1,000 people in the box. How about that? Everybody, the cheerleaders, the mascots, everybody. And I'm going to make that quarterback beat me with that skinny-ass receiver Nebraska had. But I guarantee you that Amir Abdullah is going to get hit in the mouth on every time he touches the ball. There's no way I'm going to have my linebacker sitting 4 or 5 yards back and safety sitting 12 to 15 yards back, and then they're backpedaling. And when Amir Abdullah gets behind the defensive line, he's out there running circles around people.
Listen, Nebraska hasn't had a good quarterback since football was invented. Football was invented, I think, like in 1890, all right? They haven't had a good quarterback since.
Tommy Frazier.
All right.
I know what you're saying. A quarterback that okay. Scares you passing the football.
If they've had a quarterback that's been relevant, it's been an option quarterback.
Correct.
Crouch would be the last one.
They've never had a quarterback that could just sit back there and throw the ball.
Yeah, but even Crouch couldn't throw the ball.
He couldn't throw the ball.
But that would be their last.
He was an option quarterback.
Correct.
He was a runner, is what he was. That's what Nebraska football is.
Correct.
Okay, so you treat that just like you would treat the Georgia Tech game where they would run the wishbone. You stack the box. You play press man-to-man coverage on the outside, and let's go.
That's it.
I dare you to run the ball.
Yeah.
I dare you to run the ball. Throw it every time.
Throw it every time. If you beat me throwing it, hey, good job. You beat me.
No, and I mean, I was pulling my hair in the game because not only am I watching the game as a UM fan, but I'm also watching it as a football fan. And in the fourth quarter, when they're killing us running the ball, the coach decides to throw the ball. The Nebraska coach decides to throw the ball on that 20-yard out, and we pick it off. And I was like, I mean, I don't know who's worse. Is it Al Golden or the coach from Nebraska? Why would you throw the ball when you're killing us on the ground? Listen, and I mean, I don't know what's more demoralizing in football than getting your ass kicked on the ground.
Oh, my God. It's just...
There is nothing more frustrating to watch than that. Nothing. You can... Listen, if they pass the ball on you for 500 yards, all right, you got beat, and it's kind of exciting. But when they run the ball on you and you cannot stop it, they're just punking you pretty much.
It's like slow death.
Exactly.
It's just, you can see it on their faces. And then they just hand the ball off to his kid and it's 5-6 yards
they just
whenever he wanted it.
Yeah, they just grind you.
Yeah.
And grind you and grind you. And there's a run there that he broke in the middle of the third quarter that I was like, all right, that's it. This game is now over. There's just no way of stopping him. I mean, how many yards did that guy rush for?
230-something yards, something like that. And the thing is that it's not like he came out of nowhere.
No, we knew
this
was going to happen. Yeah.
He's a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Right. We knew this was going to happen.
Let's make sure we know where number 8 is on the field. How about that?
I mean,
no, they don't. It's like they walked into the stadium and they're like, "Oh, who's this freshman that they have that ran circles around us?" No.
I'm so tired of Al Golden already. I mean, he needs to get out of here. He is such. I mean, he's a dumbass, is what he is at this point. I mean, and those interviews that he gives that. Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
No, I got one more clip for you guys if you guys want to hear it.
Okay, go ahead.
Since you're going on your tirade of Golden right now.
Yeah, go ahead, run it.
And we did not do a good job of getting them any losses, Joe. So we didn't have any sacks, and if we had any tackle for losses, they were minimal. So, but in terms of our first and second down breakdown, I mean, I think we were 55% pressure. And again, when you play a team like this, when they do spread you out and you pressure them, a lot of times they just kick the ball out, and now you're playing in space with less guys. So there's got to be a mix, and clearly it wasn't good enough. Again, I'm answering your questions, Joe. I'm not making excuses. Ultimately, it's my responsibility. We did not do a good enough job on defense. Our tackling wasn't what it needed to be. We didn't stop the run. The money downs killed us. It left us on the field too long, and that helped, Nebraska in terms of our tackle deterioration.
Fire D'Onofrio, asshole. Like, I don't understand how he doesn't get that through his head. I mean, he's such a lame ass. Like, listening to his interviews, like, I can't hear him talk anymore. It bothers me. And for him to say there was poor tackling and the excuses of, we've had a 4-game stretch that's been probably the toughest out of, I don't know what. I mean, at this point, I'm comparing him.
Did he really say that?
Yeah. He said
a 4-game stretch of what?
It's the
They played a team that had a guy do a fake punt that stood there like a statue.
Listen.
No, he fainted.
Billy,
yeah. It's not like they played Ohio State and Alabama and LSU.
Billy Corbin came out on Twitter and evaluated that statement, and it's the 35th worst schedule right now through the first 4 games, and it's the 6th least.
The what?
I don't know. The word leaves my mind right now.
It's all right. We drew a brain freeze.
Yeah.
No, but no. Look, if I didn't hear him say that. That's funny. I was not really paying attention to what he was saying there a little bit, but then I blanked out. But look, their schedule has not been difficult for the first 3 games and this one fourth. Even the Nebraska game. I mean, you saw that our offense went in there with a freshman quarterback. Kaya played well. He made some mistakes, but he gave us a chance to win the game. We didn't lose the game because of Kaya. Forget about it. That's not what happened.
No, Kaya was actually a shining star in this game. Like, he's the only thing positive that I got out of this game. Brad Kaya is going to be a star in college football.
I agree. He looks so far like he's going to be able to. And Frank just showed us something. Our producer, that D'Onofrio, says that it's the execution, not the scheme.
Right.
Maybe. So again, we're blaming the players. At what point in time are these players going to be like, hey, listen, if I'm a player, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm a player, I'm going to be like, hey, coach, you're calling me out. How about if we think your scheme sucks?
Well, they just had one of the top recruits that they had for next year decommit from, it was a tight end, from here and go to Wake Forest. So
Wake Forest, look at that. Wow, that tells you how bad things are.
Yeah. What's his name, Frank? The tight end?
Oh, for the Canes?
Yeah.
Clive Walford?
Yeah. He decommitted yesterday. I mean, it's starting to affect, it's going to start affecting recruiting. I mean, they need to get rid of this guy right now. Like, I'm hoping that this week, okay, I'm kind of like in the middle because I want to root for the Canes, but I'm also praying for disaster. I hope Duke kicks their ass this week. So that's it. The shit can hit the fan with these people already. Because, I mean, this is UM football here. And these people, I mean, we're being looked at like Rutgers. Like no one's scared of us anymore.
So listen to this ridiculous quote by Coach Offrio. Notice I didn't put the D in there. So he says, if you talk to our players right now and you said, hey, do you know what you need to do in the scheme? Are you seeing what you need to see? I think they'd tell you yes. That being said, at the end of the day, I have to get them to execute better. They know they're getting coached hard. They're getting coached with detail. I'm positive they would I'm positive they would tell you that. At the end of the day, we have to execute. On my side of the ball, that starts with me, and it moves down to the coaches and comes back to the players. We know what we're seeing. We know what we have to fix. We're in it together, and we'll continue to work.
I mean, execution. I mean, maybe we should send him to an execution.
Let me ask you a question. When you guys watch them, what type of defense do you guys see them doing? What is that? What is that?
It's a basic cover 2 all the time with no adjustment, and there's never a man. It's always a zone. And
they're lining up in a 4-3.
The middle of the field is always open. Always. I know it, and I'm watching it on TV, and they could
tight ends kill us
every time.
Any team that has a normal tight end, normal,
annihilates us.
Has 90,000 catches.
Wisconsin, that means FSU's going to destroy us with O'Leary.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I mean, I don't even know. I've been railing on D'Onofrio already since we started the show. So, I mean, this is like kind of like old news to me. So
where do the Canes go from here, guys? We're passionate about the Canes. And we talk about this always. And I had this conversation the other day with my wife, ironically, because she knows how pissed I was about this thing. And I'm like, we got to change this thing completely. And we got to change it 100%. So I want you guys to think about it during the break. We're going to get it back on the other side. And I want you guys to tell me, Frank, Noodles, and Frank, our producer, and I'll give you guys my opinion of what the Canes need to do as an athletic department to make this football program better than what it is right now. You're listening to the O and Frank Noodles Show on SoFloRadio.com.
You're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
Here's the latest ratings you asked for.
What is this? Where did all our listeners go?
SoFloRadio.com.
SoFlo, what channel is that on?
It's online, sir. Wi-Fi radio.
Oh, I see.
But what channel is it on?
Put your business on the leading edge of media advertising with the SoFloRadio.com network. Unlike antiquated AM or FM radio, your professionally produced 30 or 60-second ad will be heard live on SoFloRadio.com during the day and will be downloaded thousands of times a day on SoFloRadio.com, as well as being heard on our free podcasts on iTunes. Wi-Fi radio and Bluetooth are now available with BMW, Ford, GM Cars and Trucks. Don't get left behind. Contact SoFloRadio.com for details and our very affordable rates. SoFloRadio.com. Stay ahead of the game.
The Amigo Show with Larry Million.
Yeah, I said it. Michael Jordan was the biggest thing in the NBA. LeBron is the biggest thing in the NBA. Same type of star. I'm not going to argue who's better today. And you look at that, right, Frank? And I remember Jordan. Like, I rooted against Jordan. You know why I rooted against Jordan? Whoa! My voice went soprano. Oh my God!
No, what I meant to say was when do you know why I root against?
You have failed.
That's what I was trying to say.
The Amigo Show, Saturday mornings from 9 to noon, only on SoFloRadio.com.
strawberry passion smoothie. Come
Get your hands off me.
Huh?
I said don't touch me.
I shouldn't have went to that party last night. Now I'm seeing talking fruit.
You're not dreaming, Bubba, and you're not putting me in that blender.
But you're just a fruit.
Who you calling a fruit?
You are. You're a delicious passion fruit.
Why, sure, I'm passionate. How would you like to be blended, huh? I got right, you know.
Customers waiting. You gotta go.
Yeah, but wait, you can...
At Power Smoothie in Aventura, we show fruit no mercy. Always fresh, always delicious. To make the best smoothies and wraps on earth, try our new cilantro lime-alicious wrap or our hot chipotle chicken. Power Smoothie in Aventura, located just north of the Aventura Mall in the Promenade Shops. Or call 305-792-5338. Open 7 days a week.
We're back to the O and Frank Noodles Show. On SoulFlowRadio.com.
On deck, young Derek Jeter, the future Hall of Famer.
A rookie in '96.
Just one of those careers for a few years.
There it is, the Yankees' all-time hits leader. He is Mr. Derek Jeter. Mr. New York. Mr. Franchise.
Dynasty.
All-time.
Here's the kid, Derek Jeter, first big league assist. Here's the kid, Derek Jeter, first major league hit. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 hits.
Holy cow! He creamed it. It's a huge honor to put this uniform on every day and come out here and play.
Mr. New York. Mr. Franchise.
Dynasty.
All-time.
Got that style, got that grace and legs. This game. Play the man from New York, New York. This wig's from the captain from New York, New York. We have fun. I come ready to play.
All right, so we were talking about the Canes and where the program needs to go for the future. I have my opinion, and again, we're talking here unlimited funds, which we know is an issue. We're talking about unlimited resources, which could also be an issue, and the fact that really just people making an effort to bring the program back to the way it was, which I think, and I hate to say this, I don't think it'll ever be back to where we were back in the days. But if it's ever going to get close to it, I think the first thing we need to do is we need to lower the academic standards of the program. Because right now the academic standards are so high that we've lost some players because of it. We lost Peterson, who played in Miramar, and now he's a first-round pick for the Arizona Cardinals. And the reason why he chose LSU over UM was because he had issues getting into University of Miami.
I mean, and here's another point. How many of the new guys right now in UM, all right, how many of the new guys right now in UM you see playing in the NFL, and you were like, wow, that guy played in UM, and he's starting in the NFL right now?
There's a lot of them out there.
Like, look at Olivier Vernon. Olivier Vernon is balling right now for the Dolphins.
He is, yeah. He is.
All right, that guy was nothing with the Canes. All right, Sam Shields. All right, that guy used to play receiver. He's running backwards now in the NFL and starting.
Yeah,
all
for
right.
the Green Bay Packers.
All right,
One of the best cornerbacks too in the league.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of guys out there that are just look Calais Campbell.
Yeah, I remember at UM he was a project, but they never he never blossomed anything.
He never blossomed into anything.
Well, poor coaching.
Kenny Phillips.
Kenny Phillips.
I can tell you this much. Again, we're talking about unlimited funds. Unlimited resources. I think the first thing you need to do is bring a big name coach in here. Now, who that might be, I have no idea.
Well, listen.
If I had my choice, it'd be John Gruden, but that's not gonna happen.
First of all, Shalala needs to retire.
Well, she is. She's gone. We're talking about
next year.
Yeah, next year. It's not gonna happen.
Okay,
now.
because if we need a president to come in here and want to reinstate the brand of what is UM football. All right, and for UM football to succeed, we need to get Dade County, Broward. All right, and the Palm Beaches, those high schools need to come back in here. We need basically those UM titles that we won was with half of Overtown in Coral Gables. All right, and we need to recruit those players because we are the hotbed for high school football in the United States of America. When people want football talent, they come down here to the high schools down here. All right,
Agreed.
and we're letting all those players
skill position is probably the best talent.
Right.
In
we're,
the
we're
country.
letting all those players leave and go to Louisville, and they kick our ass every time they play us.
Well,
All
look,
right?
arguably some of the best receiver in the country, Amari Cooper, is from Miami.
Mhm.
Okay, Rashard Green, that plays at Florida State, is another guy who's a great receiver. Played for St. Thomas Aquinas from Fort Lauderdale area. And you're right, the recruiting in-house has gone away. But the other thing is this, and we talked about it off the air. We have to bring guys back and put them on the payroll. Guys that are just figures. Guys like Ray Lewis. Guys like Ed Reed. Guys like Santana Moss. If I'm a recruit, okay, Nick Saban walks into my house, sits on my couch, yo, that's Nick Saban. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's Nick Saban. Let's be honest. Urban Meyer walks in and sits on my couch. Yo, that's Urban Meyer. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we need
who does you I'm sitting on the couch?
We need to have the thing is that we need to have the funds for that. And here's the thing: we're not gonna get a big time coach because we're not that kind of college. All right. What we need to do right now is have a Moneyball kind of an approach, which is different. We need to lower our grading standards. All right. We need to lower them, and we need to start recruiting in this area here. All right, and just start bringing talent from here. All right, and maybe that way we can compete with some of the teams in the SEC. Because right now, I mean, with Golden and D'Onofrio, I mean, it's sad to watch right now what's going on. I mean, and these guys just coming out and blaming the players on execution. And, I mean, it's just this is absolutely terrible. I mean, it's depressing as a UM fan to see what they're doing with the brand.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. They play this weekend against Duke.
Oh,
and I'm one of those people.
I think they're going to lose.
I think Duke's going to beat them.
Yeah.
I think Duke is going to beat them. Duke has a very good football team. They're very well coached.
I think, yeah, you're going to have Bobby Hurley run for 300 yards on them.
And well, the key is this. What does Duke do well? What's their forte? Their offense.
To run the ball.
And what's our weakness?
Stopping the run.
So it's a recipe for a disaster. I'm going to be honest with you. I think a lot of people expected the Nebraska team to beat UM. We both expected it. We both said it last week on the air. I think the Louisville game, a lot of us were optimistic, but I was one that said we were going to lose that game. Okay? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. At the beginning of the season, I thought we'd be 2-2 at this point. I thought we'd beat Duke. If we don't beat Duke on Saturday,
it's going to be a disaster.
It's going to be an absolute mess.
Which I'm rooting for. I mean, as a Canes fan, like you want to support your team, but
you want to wear your Grant Hill jersey to the game? I'm down.
Yeah. Or
Grant Hill,
Christian Leitner,
Bobby Hurley.
Yeah.
We switch every quarter.
Okay. So like I'm one of those people that I like to rip out the Band-Aid like as fast as possible and just get the pain over with. All right.
Oh,
so,
we talked about that when the
So I would like I want Duke to come out and I want them to beat our ass. That way we can just get on with these guys already and just get them out of here. I mean, you at that point you're gonna have the boosters start to complain and pull out, which is what you want in order for them to make a change. And I mean, hopefully the next president that comes in gets the point, and we can get this thing on the road again. I mean, this is becoming a joke. This Mark Onofrio without the D. This guy's the worst.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Thing that ever happened.
If you want to call into the show, it's 954-990-0036. We're talking a little Canes talk. We're gonna stick with the NCAA. We're always gonna talk Canes football, but I'm interested to get your thoughts on that Florida State game against Clemson on Saturday night. It was interesting because a lot of people were, I guess, a little confused because they're like, oh, if Jameis Winston plays, they blow him out. I don't think so. I think Clemson's defense was putting pressure on the quarterback regardless whether it's Jameis Winston or not. I think Jameis Winston might make a difference on some plays here and there.
Listen,
but that guy had no time to throw the ball.
If it wasn't for that kicker and Clemson, they would have won that game.
Of course.
All right.
Clemson sucks.
What?
FSU got so lucky that
their offense is inept. Their offense is terrible, but their defense is
Clemson's
really
defense
good, bro.
Will keep them in the game.
Right. I mean their offense. Their offense is garbage.
They had to win. You have to win that game.
They do. You have to win that game.
They
left like 24 points on the field.
I mean, they drove downfield on the first drive and didn't make oh man, right there I was like,
The best part of the game though was when the game opened and Jameis Winston came out dressed.
What is he doing?
He's crazy, bro. That guy's an idiot.
Did you see him on the sidelines?
He was warming up. Everybody was looking at him like, "Hey, you're not playing today, bro."
Hey, the cameraman I think had a crush on Jameis Winston because the
He
whole game
followed
was
him
Jameis Winston.
Yeah, the whole game.
Jameis Winston came out more than Sean McGuire.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's polarizing. I mean, he's sitting on the sideline. He's entertaining, regardless. Like, he's entertaining on the sideline. He's laughing. He's cracking jokes. His eyes are bulging. He's talking. Look, it's weird because Jimbo Fisher came out today in a report and said that it was a communication issue between the Jimbo Fisher and the equipment team, and they should have told him to take his stuff out of the locker. And they didn't. I'm like, who cares? He knows he's not supposed to play.
Right. So he comes out with a helmet and pads on and everything,
Like,
throwing the
chilling.
ball.
Like, he's out there. Like, I don't get it. Like,
Bro,
it was totally awkward.
I would have told Winston, dude, get the hell out of here. Go back to the dorm. Watch the game there. Like, don't even come back to the field. Like,
Nah,
what's he thinking, bro? No, man, get out of here. You're a knucklehead. You know you're not playing. Why are you on the field, bro?
I think he's funny at the end of the
But
day.
you know what's well, yeah, he is pretty funny actually.
I think he's funny.
But you know what's interesting is that in the post game interview with the backup quarterback, he actually said that this guy spent the previous 2-3 nights with him till almost 12 or 11 in the morning. I mean 11 at night and almost 12 at night, going over film, and he thanked Jameis Winston for being there for him and etc. And then the kid's father came out and also said that.
Right.
He said that, listen, the kid gets a bad rap, but he's a team player. He spent time with my son, prepping him and getting ready for the game, etc.
He's just a goofball.
He's just a goofball. He's
Right.
one of those guys that you put him on the field, and if he's in between that box, he's okay.
Yeah.
Once he gets out of the box,
he needs to act up.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah.
He needs to shape up because his draft stock is.
Well, that was you know what? I'm
I-
glad you bring
plummeting.
up that point.
I think that's crap.
Because where do you take this guy in the NFL draft? Do you take him with a first round pick?
I think you'll have a team that you just need a team with a strong head coach and a strong organization that's going to bring him in, and he'll do fine. He can't go to a weak organization like
Dolphins.
Right, or what happened with Jamarcus Russell that he went to the Raiders. I mean, that can't happen. If he gets drafted by the Raiders or the Dolphins or the Jaguars or any of those teams, forget it. He needs to go to an organization he's going to come in and they're going to mentor him from the start, like a Steelers or a Ravens or a Giants. That kind of organization is where he'll succeed. If you put him somewhere where they're all over the place, like a Philman or something like that, forget it.
You know who I see
He's done
taking
for.
Jameis Winston next year?
Who?
The Dallas Cowboys.
That could be. I mean, if
If he gets there.
I
Right.
told Amigo that on Saturday.
Romo's on the I wouldn't want to say on the decline, but he's got a couple years left of solid football.
Romo
if that.
is who he is.
If that, right?
Right.
So you bring Jameis in, he sits down for a couple years. Let me tell you, he's talented, bro. He can play.
The dude can play.
He can play, man.
And
I mean, we're not coming out of the woodworks with that. I mean,
It's obvious.
It's obvious.
The kid can play. And the best thing about him is he's a gamer.
Yeah.
When he needs to make plays, he makes plays. In the national championship, Florida State had to drive downfield and score. He drove downfield and scored. Opening game this season against Oklahoma State, it was like 3rd and 19. He got 22 yards on a run. He seems to always find a way to make the play when it counts. He's a knucklehead, but he can play.
And I told Amigo that Dallas would be the team to take him. And then Amigo told me, he goes, bro, nobody's going to want to deal with that PR nightmare. And I go, you're lying. Jerry Jones
We'll
would
take
deal
it.
with that PR
I agree.
nightmare. Because he's an attention whore. He doesn't mind the...
and he's going to sell
He doesn't
jerseys.
mind. Look, he was the one that picked up Michael Sam when nobody else wanted to give him a shot. So he
Listen.
doesn't care about the whole PR nightmare.
If it isn't obvious by now that we know that everyone in the NFL, about 50% of the players are all insane and mad and murderers and whatever the hell they are. So, I mean, it's just something that comes with the sport. You need to have that kind of crazy, zany personality thing in order to be effective in the league. I mean, it's just part of it. If Aaron Hernandez was drafted by the Patriots, Jameis Winston will be drafted by somebody.
Well, the Cowboys took Antonio Bryant when everybody knew Antonio Bryant had issues. That's why he dropped so far in the draft.
Des Bryant.
Des Bryant. You're right.
Yeah.
And has that been a problem?
No, not
No,
really.
the guy's a stud. So
Yeah.
we'll take it. And they just had recently
They had Pac-Man Jones who killed
Pac-Man
somebody.
Jones, yeah. So, and Jerry Jones, in his little interview he did with ESPN recently, he says that he passed on Johnny Manziel, but that he said that he will never let that happen again. So I think if he's sitting in his war room and it's the draft and he has the 13th or 16th pick, whatever they might have, and this kid's sitting there, he's taking him.
Oh, absolutely.
He's taking him.
Well, the Cowboys need a new quarterback at this point.
At some point in time, the transition has to happen.
One playoff victory, and how long has Romo been the quarterback there already? What, 9 years?
Yeah, it's been
10
a while.
years. I mean, people that defend him, like, it drives me absolutely crazy because he still has defenders in the media that defend him and say that he's a good quarterback. He's that Romo gets a bad rap, and dude, he's just a quarterback. He's just a guy. He's nothing out of this world. He's just, I mean, from where he came from to where he is now. I mean, the guy was a golfer that was on a practice squad, and he became the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, he's already over-succeeded who he was supposed to be. So, I mean, I just think he's happy to be where he's at, but he'll never be one of those quarterbacks that'll sit there with you in the playoffs and win a duel against Drew Brees. He's just not that guy.
Yeah, I hate to say this, I am a Romo fan. I'll be honest with you.
That's all on you, buddy.
I like the guy. I think he's a decent little quarterback, and I like watching the Cowboys play. That's what I mean. I like him, but
Tony,
when I look at the game itself, like I just think the same thing you think. I don't think he has the confidence to win any big games, and it just shows when he gets to the playoffs. He just turns, or even any game at the end of the season.
He's yellow, brother. He's yellow.
He walks into Washington and just 2 minutes left, and he throws his papelazo floater ball.
He folds.
Like it's
and
just
no one ever talks about his throwing motion either. I don't like it. I've never liked it. It's kind of a weird throwing motion where he hangs the ball a lot. And I brought this point up to a few people, and like no one ever really notices. But I just don't like him as a quarterback. I don't like him as a football player. And he's just a waste of time right now for Dallas. All they do over there is just tease you and tease you and tease you, and they never do anything.
Talking about quarterbacks, there's a guy that I respected before this weekend. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. But I saw him play this weekend, and I was like, man, this guy is not the type of guy to put 330 yards on you every week. He's never going to lead the league in passing. He's never going to lead the league in touchdowns. But right now, he's a guy on one of my team, and it's Russell Wilson. That guy is just unreal on the football field. I mean, he is legit, brother. He is. Listen, you could tell me Marshawn Lynch. You could tell me about that defense that Seattle has. The best player on that team by far is Russell Wilson. And that team does not go anywhere without Russell Wilson. Nowhere. I don't care what no one tells me. He doesn't have to throw for 300 yards. He doesn't have to blow up like Drew Brees does and Aaron Rodgers does and all these guys do. Bro, that guy right now is a top 5 quarterback in this league. I don't care what anybody tells me. Tell me different.
No, I agree with you. And I've been saying this for a while. I mean, I've had this argument actually with Sedano a few times. Sedano tells me, "Oh no, he's just a game manager." I'm like, "Well, you're
no way.
You're crazy. You're absolutely out of your mind." I mean, Russell Wilson is as good of a playmaker as you'll find in the NFL. I mean, and that guy, he is one of the best quarterbacks at improvising I've seen right now in the league. Like, he'll take a terrible situation and make it look amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people take that for granted.
Yeah.
You have to really watch Seattle play
yes.
and understand the game a little bit and understand that, oh, wow, whoa, did he just do that?
Right.
And some people just see it on TV. They're like, whatever. And I'm surprised that Sedano, who's a guy that's credible, I mean, and a friend of ours, would understand that. But I could see where he's skewed, because I was skewed a little bit until I really saw the game this week, and I was like, wow, this guy can play. Because in the Super Bowl, they blew out these guys by so much that you really didn't get to see Russell Wilson like in a situation, like in a third quarter, got to make a play, fourth quarter. You see what I'm saying?
It's not that. It's that if you watch Seattle football, you'll see that offense runs through Marshawn Lynch.
Absolutely.
It's a run-first offense. As high-powered offense is, and they spread them out and everything they do, that's a run-oriented offense. And they will run the ball as much as they can and then implement the pass into it. But Russell Wilson is who makes that team go.
Absolutely. Because a lot of people think, I've had the argument where people say, oh, you could put another quarterback in Seattle and they'll be successful. I'm like, no way. The reason why Marshawn Lynch runs as much as he does is because the defense has to respect the fact that Russell Wilson can make those throws if he needs to make those throws. So you can't stack up the people in the box. And they spread you out. And he'll make those throws all game long. And what he does is, like every NFL team now, they come to the line with 2 plays.
Yes.
And he checks off to whichever one is going to work. And if you don't have guys in the box, he will hand it all day long to Marshawn Lynch. And the minute you come up in the box and you're going to stop the run, bam, he hits you with a skinny post in the middle of the field on a perfect throw. He will tear you apart.
No, this guy, listen, Russell Wilson is the real deal. And I mean, I saw him play in college, and I mean, I picked him in fantasy last year. I thought he was going to be more of a throwing quarterback. I saw him playing preseason, and I'm like, bro, this guy's the real deal.
Yeah.
He looks like Frank Tarkenton out there.
Oh, I believe that if they set him up, I believe if
they put him in a passing offense,
he'll throw for 300 yards all day long.
Yeah,
I agree
all day.
I agree. I just think that the scheme, and he's smart enough to understand that he doesn't have to do that, which makes it even better because the fact that he could sit there and say, it's about winning. I'm not worried about my stats.
And it's just as impressive with his size. How when he does throw the ball, he finds a lane to throw the ball to because this guy's not tall at all. He's a short quarterback.
Yeah, no.
He finds a lane and is able to make the throw right on the money. And, I mean, just his size. I mean, I've always said it. He's a little bit of Doug Flutie with a little bit of Tarkenton in him. I mean, he is Russell Wilson, to me, is a special player in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. So we're going to get back on the other side. We're going to get into some NFL predictions. We're going to get into some, I guess you could say, I'm going to ask Frank, both of these guys here, what they think are the top 5 teams in the league right now and who are the worst 5 teams in the league and the surprises of anybody out there that we thought, like the Cardinals are 3-0, which is a surprise with Stanton at quarterback. So with that said, we're going to go to break. You're listening to the O and Frank Noodles Show on SoFloRadio.com.
You're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
Here's the latest ratings you asked for.
What is this? Where did all our listeners go?
SoFloRadio.com.
SoFlo, what channel is that on?
It's online, sir. Wi-Fi radio.
Oh, I see.
But what channel is it on?
Put your business on the leading edge of media advertising with the SoFloRadio.com network. Unlike antiquated AM or FM radio, your professionally produced 30 or 60-second ad will be heard live on SoFloRadio.com during the day and will be downloaded thousands of times a day on SoFloRadio.com, as well as being heard on our free podcasts on iTunes. Wi-Fi radio and Bluetooth are now available with BMW, Ford, GM Cars and Trucks. Don't get left behind. Contact SoFloRadio.com for details and our very affordable rates. SoFloRadio.com. Stay ahead of the game.
The O and Frank Noodles Show.
So how do people actually do it, males, in the region?
Nah, see, I don't.
Dude, if you say you had that much pain on your arm and legs, that's unacceptable. At that point, something's going on.
I don't go to that level though. I trim with a little machine, bro. You know
little buzzer?
Little buzzer. It's buzz down there, a little manscape. And we're good to go. Hey, bro, you got a manscape nowadays. No chick wants to go down there and, you know what I'm saying, feel hairs.
No, that's terrible.
That's
and
terrible.
And you so you got, it goes both ways, right?
It goes both ways, brother. You know what I'm saying? Some chicks go down there, you got hair, and they're like, whoa, wait, let me come back up.
Hold on, cowboy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The O and Frank Noodles Show. Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. only on SoFloRadio.com.
Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor with their debut release, Picture This. Featuring You Have My Attention. Go to Facebook.com/Return the Favor. Picture This. Return the Favor. Available on iTunes.
We're back to the O and Frank Noodles Show.
You can't go in there.
On SoFloRadio.com.
It's okay. I'm a limo driver.
So we're back, and we're going to talk a little bit of, I guess you could say, what's hot, what are the hot teams right now in the NFL, which obviously what we're going to say today could be completely different in 6 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now, because you just never know. In the NFL, one team loses a player, and they lose 11 games in a row. So we're going to go through that. I'm going to tell you my top 5 teams right now that I think are the top teams in the league. Cincinnati, to me, is number 1. Their defense is the real deal. And they have enough weapons on offense. And Giovanni Bernard, right now, is having the best season as a running back in the NFL. Right now, after week 3. He's the top running back in the NFL.
You can call me the Swami because I've been touting about the Bengals since preseason.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think one of the best additions to that team, which a lot of people don't talk about, is the addition of offensive coordinator Hugh Jackson, which this guy I know is a good offensive coordinator because I've followed Darren McFadden's career, and the best years that he's played was when he was there. So I know that he knows how to use his players and get the most out of them. And I think that's been the difference with Andy Dalton this year. Because Andy Dalton has played the best that he's ever played in this.
Oh, absolutely.
In this 3-game stretch.
No, he's on fire. He doesn't turn over the ball. He makes all the right throws, the good reads, using all his weapons across the field. I mean,
yeah.
Right now, Cincinnati's
the best team
in the NFL.
Yeah. And, I mean, we just got to see them now in the playoffs, which is a long time from now. But right now, they're playing the best football in the NFL.
Agree.
And like I said, I picked them at the beginning of the year to go to the Super Bowl.
You did.
And I still think they're going to go.
That's a good pick. I still like Denver. I mean, I know that Denver's one of those teams, but I think Denver at the end of the season will be there. I think they have too much talent on defense. Aqib Talib. They got Ware, Miller. They got too many guys, too much talent on that team to not be there at the end of the playoffs.
Listen, I love their defense and the additions that they made, but I just, in the weather where it is now, okay, we haven't gotten to the cold months yet of the football season. Peyton Manning is already starting to break down. If you watch that game against Seattle this past weekend, all right, yes, he was able to bring them back at the end, but you watch some of those passes the first 3 quarters, and they looked bad, man. He was just throwing ducks all over the place, and he always throws ducks, but it's getting to a point where you're starting to notice a little bit. As the season progresses, it gets colder, the weather starts getting worse, and it's harder to throw the ball. So for that reason, I agree with you. Denver will be in the playoffs, but I don't see them getting to the end like they did last year. I think they've had their run already. I mean, I think they'll get to the playoffs, maybe win their division, and
we'll see from there. Yeah, it's the same thing I feel.
And they'll be out.
But they're one of the top teams. The other 2 top teams I have, obviously, is Philly's 3-0, and all their games have been close. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win their division, and I think they're going to have home field at least to the divisional playoffs, and I think they're going to do really well.
Well, I think in the NFC, it's either going to be the Eagles or Chicago in the Super Bowl.
Unless Seattle has home field advantage.
Well, that too. But, I mean, there's something about Philadelphia. I mean, this is the first time, in NFL history that a team has come back from more than 10 points in the fourth quarter in their first 3 games.
Wow, maybe the UM should look at that. Coaching.
Adjustments.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
Yeah. Chip Kelly is a freak of nature with what he's doing with those guys over there right now.
Yeah. No, and he's using everybody.
Everybody.
Teams cannot just focus on LaShawn McCoy anymore. Everybody gets the ball there.
Nick Foles is a real deal, homie.
Hey, he makes the throws. He's smart. He does his job.
And
the defense is what's a little weak there, but I think Chip Kelly sets up his defense because he scores so fast, and then they're back out on the field, and then he scores. So it's a little bit of a scramble.
It's part of the system.
It's part of the system. But they're 3-0. Can't argue.
Correct.
Can't argue with them. My 5th team, obviously, Seattle's there. My 5th team is the one that's kind of like I'm up in the air. I know the Bears are 2-1. We have the Patriots are always one of those teams, but I'm gonna actually go with the San Diego Chargers.
Okay.
And the one thing that impressed me was their victory against Seattle. Okay? Their victory against Seattle, they showed that they could step up to the plate. Now, they have an injury there that's affecting them. They lost Woodhead. They've lost Matthews, and he's out for a couple weeks. But if the San Diego Chargers are one of those teams that if they could just tread water and get into the playoffs at like a 9-7, they scare me like the Giants a couple years ago. They just got in at 9-7. You don't want to see the Chargers in the playoffs.
No, I know. I understand what you're saying. Like with the Cardinals, that happened like 5 years ago. That they got into the playoffs at what? They were 7-9, I think. When they when they got into the playoffs, they got hot and just ran amok through the playoffs and got into the Super Bowl.
Correct.
The Chargers are completely and totally capable of doing that.
And they're a scary team. And yeah, there's just I saw them play against Seattle, and I was like, okay, so if this team shows up, they can beat anybody. But the problem is they don't they're like.
Well, the thing is, the reason why San Diego throws you off is because they went through their stretch of Norv Turner, which he pretty much almost rotten the career of Phillip Rivers. But now he has a coach, and in 1 year, that's it. They're back. You can see he's playing again with
he's rejuvenated. He's young again.
Correct.
I agree. Then my teams that I'm surprised of their performance as of late, and these are positive and negative. My negative teams are Green Bay's 1 and 2, which I'm like, what is going on there? And their offense just looks brutal.
They just look like they haven't been able to replace Donald Driver and Jermichael Finley. I mean, they've lost so many horses on offense.
But they can't run the ball. They tried everybody. They went.
It just looks they look offensively inept, and it looks weird.
Because you don't expect that from the Packers.
No, and it's not like Aaron Rodgers is old, because he's not. I mean, you just can't figure out what's going on there. Is it the coaching? Is it the philosophy? I mean, you don't know. It's very surprising.
I agree. San Francisco, they look like, which I thought they were the Super Bowl favorite, to be honest with you. It looks like the wheels are coming off the wagon there big time. And Kaepernick, he needs to step up. He's just not the same guy anymore. I mean, maybe teams have figured out the way he is.
That's exactly what it is.
And they're scheming now for him, but he looks not too good.
He came in and caught the league by surprise when they took out Alex Smith, like in week 14, and they had no tape on him. And that's how he was able to make that run that he made. But that's it. 2 years in, they have tape on him. And he looks, when he gets befuddled, I mean, that guy has a rocket arm. He fires the ball, and it looks like he shoots it over the receiver by about 20 yards. He just doesn't look like he makes the throws in those moments, like in the fourth quarter. I mean, for them to lose to Arizona this weekend with Drew Stanton as their quarterback.
That cannot happen. And
that
you're
can't
a Super Bowl,
happen.
yeah, and you're a Super Bowl favorite.
That can't happen.
That cannot happen. The Giants, even though they don't have a talented roster.
They look good this weekend.
But they're 1 and 2. Their offense finally look a little better. I'm surprised on the positive side. That Houston is 2 and 1. Okay,
well, I told you Houston had a great team.
I'm a little bit surprised by that. And
me too.
And I gotta be honest with you, I'm a little bit surprised at Tampa Bay being 0 and 3.
Well, hold on, real quick before you move on from Houston. I mean, if you guys don't remember, last year before the Colts came on and won that division, all right, at the beginning of the year, the Texans and the Broncos were forecasted to be the 2 best teams in the AFC along with the Patriots. That's 3 teams. All right. Once they took Matt Schaub out and he got hurt and Cushing got hurt and the whole disastrous season that happened with them,
like 12
they lost everybody.
Yeah.
People started looking
they have
down
a talented roster.
But that roster is stacked.
They are.
But it was surprising because you got Fitzpatrick coming in now, so it's a new quarterback, so he's got to learn the new system. And then you got Andre Johnson in the talks of the holdout before the season even started. And then you got Clowney going down as well.
Right. Well, I mean, that doesn't matter. I mean, if that team can stay healthy, health is the question mark of that team. That team will go far. All right, but that's a big question mark right now because Arian Foster's injury prone. You got Clowney. Cushing has blown out his ACL twice. So, I mean, you got to stay healthy there. If they stay healthy, they'll be fine.
Yeah, and in reference to the Texans, I was putting my prediction basically on their quarterback because Fitzpatrick
he's not as terrible as people make him out to be. He's not. That guy's just a gunslinger. You just go out there and just throw the ball into holes that don't even fit. But
yeah, I just didn't like him. I'm a little bit surprised that the Buccaneers are 0-3. I know people probably, but they lost. They have a lot of injuries and it looks really bad. They got smoked on Thursday night.
Well, that was embarrassing.
But one of my sleeper teams out there, and they're not gonna make the playoffs, but I'm impressed with the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I'm impressed with the Cleveland Browns. They're playing good football. They're in every game. They're not as talented as people think. The quarterback position, we've argued it for months in the preseason, but look at their receivers. They're not very good. Their running backs are not very good. Their defense actually is pretty good, but they've been in every game, and I applaud the coach for that because he's put them in good positions, good schemes, and Cleveland's at least one of those teams now that when you come to play them on Sunday, you better come prepared or they're gonna beat you.
No, absolutely. Cleveland is up and coming, man. They've put together a nice little roster there with Manziel and the boys, and I see good things from that team coming up soon. I mean, they have also Dante Whitner as their safety, They used to play for the 49ers. I mean, I expect a lot of good things from Cleveland this year. My surprise this year has been, I mean, aside from the Packers, has been the New England Patriots. I mean, they struggled against the Raiders again this weekend.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, Brady just looks old. It doesn't feel like the same New England vibe. Now, we've said this before a million times. So, I mean, watch them catch us by surprise and get to the Super Bowl again, but I just don't see that team being as good as they were in the past. I mean, it just doesn't feel the same. Brady's floating passes all over the place. I mean, they're struggling against the Raiders. They lost to the Dolphins. It's not very New England-like at this point. Look, I think Buffalo can win some games this year. I've said that a few times. No one likes E.J. Manuel, but I think they have a nice little roster. I think they probably could be the second best team in the AFC East.
I agree.
And people,
CJ Spiller is the key to that team. People don't realize how important that guy is to that offense, because he does a little bit of everything that keeps the defense on their toes. The minute that guy goes out, you know what Jackson's gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. You know what the type of runner that he is. And, bro, Watkins is balling.
No, listen,
Watkins is balling.
I mean, Buffalo and they have a good defense too. So I mean, Buffalo, depending on their schedule, I haven't looked at it. They can rip off some.
And they have a good coaching staff. They also look very well prepared when they go into games.
Look, staying on the AFC East, the Jets. Like, I have no idea how Rex Ryan is still a coach in the NFL. I mean, that guy has.
I can answer that for you.
That guy has a Mark Sanchez tattoo on his arm.
No, does he?
Yes.
Yes, he does. Or is it on his leg?
It's on his leg or something. He has number 6 with his wife wearing a Mark Sanchez jersey.
You didn't know about this?
I think I heard about it. I didn't know if it was. I didn't know if it was real. I didn't know if it was real. You want me to tell you why he still has a job?
I mean, Jesus.
You want me to tell you why he still has a job?
Enlighten me. Go ahead.
Because the Jets suck, right?
Right.
And how are they always in every game?
Because they have a good roster.
No, because they have a good coach.
You think Rex Ryan is a good coach?
Absolutely, I think he's a good coach.
He's not
I think he's a good coach.
Yes.
No, he's not a good coach.
The Jets suck, Frank. Roster-wise, they're terrible.
I disagree with you 100%.
They're in every game because he finds a way to keep them alive in these games.
Listen, bro, you have a Mark Sanchez tattoo on your leg.
It's a tattoo of his wife wearing a jersey.
Okay,
of Mark Sanchez.
Okay, listen. Yes, that instantaneously gives you really bad credibility.
I'm gonna go to the Cowherd thing, and I'm gonna tell you, look, he's a great guy to have a beer with and all that stuff, but that guy's not a football coach.
Yes, he is.
I think he's a good defensive coordinator, and
the
Jets have.
Look at what happened last week with the timeout. Are you serious? You're gonna call that guy a good coach, Omar?
But that's not his fault. The offensive coordinator called timeout.
You think it's not his fault? That's his coaching staff. Of course, it's his fault.
Bro, the guy called a timeout.
Okay.
Come on, you can see.
If you're the head coach of a team and I'm your assistant head coach and I override you and come in and make a timeout, you're not gonna punch me in the face?
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
But we don't know what happened behind closed doors. But listen, that wasn't his fault. You saw the video. Was it Mortenwig? What's his name?
Marty Mortenham or whatever.
He's running down the sideline calling the timeout.
Why is he doing that?
I don't know.
Because there's no control on the sideline. It's just a bunch of idiots out there screaming with tattoos.
I would take Rex Ryan as a Dolphin coach right now.
Oh,
at least I know my team on Sundays is going to be prepared to play football.
You're comparing the Jets to the Dolphins, which is they're in the same twilight zone.
No.
Give me like another comparison.
Okay, what roster has better talent?
Than the Jets?
The Dolphins or the Jets?
I'm going to say... Wow, that's a tough question.
It is a tough question. I'm thinking, that's a tough question.
That's a tough question. I don't know the answer to that. I'm gonna probably say the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Dolphins having a better overall roster
because the front seven of the Dolphins
is good. Their defense isn't bad.
Is a good.
If
front
you
seven.
gave the Dolphin defense, to Rex Ryan, they'd be an amazing defense.
Oh, agreed.
An amazing defense.
Because, we might have a better front seven, but the Jets are known or said to have the best rushing defense in the league this year.
Well, because of their scheme.
Because of their scheme.
Right.
Coaching.
Exactly. So if you take the players that we have with the coaching that he puts down, the Dolphins' defense goes like 3 notches up.
Dude, he's not a bad coach, man. The Jets are one of those teams that they come at you with Mark Sanchez. Kellen Clemens, the receivers are, who knows? They put guys out there like, who are these guys? And the Jets are always in the game. They're always in the game. That comes down to coaching. And it's because of their defense. Their defense is just unreal. They keep them in the game.
Yeah, because when they went to the AFC Championship games, it was because of their defense. They had the best defense in the league at that time.
Dude, the Jets look around and they're like, okay, look. So put it this way: if the Jets had a chance to get a guy like a Golden or not a Golden, Gruden or a coach like that, then maybe they might consider changing. But when you look at what's out there, you're like, we'll keep what we got. He's just not. He's not one of the top 10. I mean, we can go through the list and see where he's at. But
listen, he's
not a bad coach, bro.
He's a
little cavalier.
No, he's not a detailed coach, and for you to win games now in the NFL, you have to be one of those smart, detailed coaches. All right, and it's smart, detailed coaches like a Belichick, like a Chip Kelly. Those kinds of coaches are the ones that win games. Sean Payton.
I think he's a good motivator.
Okay, great. Good for him. Herm Edwards was a good motivator.
Dude, he went to two AFC Championship games.
Yeah, with Mark Sanchez.
With a subpar roster.
Yeah. Well, they had Schottenheimer back then, which people hated him as an offensive coordinator, and he's been the best of the worst so far because they had Tony Sparano after that. Tony Sparano is the one who ended Mark Sanchez's career within New York. They want to blame that on Sanchez, and it was Sparano. I don't know how the hell.
That's a bad move by right there. I think Rex Ryan loses.
I'm telling you. Listen, how the hell do you hire Tony Sparano
knowing what he did
as your offensive coordinator?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the Wildcat, Tony Sparano wouldn't have a career in the NFL.
What's he doing now?
Not coaching.
Wow, that's pretty bad.
Hey,
what's he doing? Do you know what he's doing?
No, I don't know what he's doing. I'll look it up though.
Who knows? He's coaching with Coker at whatever school Coker coaches at.
The Roadrunners in the University of Opalaka.
So if you want to call in, 954-990-0036. You're listening to the O and Frank Noodles Show on SoulFlowRadio.com.
You're listening to SoulFlowRadio.com.
I am the voice of terrestrial radio. Internet radio will not succeed. You will continue listening to sports, right-wing talk, and mayonnaise FM. If you disobey, we will punish you with more right-wing talk, sports, and mayonnaise FM. We are corporate, ergo, we are never wrong. Listen and obey. Listen and obey.
Shut it down, evil foe, for I am SoFlowRadio.com, and I'm here to give back what people want to hear. A variety of entertainment, fresh music, comedy, and different points of view.
I own you.
Oh, your fart-radiating suit and tie don't frighten me, old chum. Behold the power of SoulFlowRadio.com.
My balls are falling off.
You only had one, my evil friend. There. Now you'll have to squat to pee. SoFlowRadio.com. Castrating terrestrial radio. One ball at a time.
The O and Frank Noodles Show.
Park was a disaster. Oh, you've been there? The Gatorade?
Gatorade. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's Gatorade. Way, that's Gatorade in Spanish. Yeah.
Gatorade.
Gatorade.
I ordered a Gatorade once, and he goes, Chico, you got un Gatorade? I'm like, what? Look at Frank. What is he talking about?
Gatorade.
Gatorade, homie. I was like, what?
Little Havana living, baby.
That was awesome.
The O and Frank Noodles Show. Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. only on SoFlowRadio.com.
Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor with their debut release, Picture This. Featuring You Have My Attention. Go to Facebook.com/Return the Favor. Picture This. Return the Favor. Available on iTunes.
We're back to the O and Frank Noodles Show.
Hold that plane! Sir, You can't go in there.
on SoFloRadio.com.
It's okay. I'm the limo driver.
Who y'all talking to, man? Check it out. Check it out. This here goes out. No doubt. Cribs. Nigga, this is sweet. Niggas creep up on your ass. Live to be inspected. Check it. I kick flows for ya. Kick down doors for ya. Even left arm.
So Noodles,
We don't get down like that.
I know that you have your boy here, and I'll never hear the end of it because you've called this also. So I gotta give you credit where credit's due. But your boy,
Swami on this show, bro.
No, it's Sabo. A Captain Kirk. But you know what's funny is that I was watching that game the other day, and I'm in FanDuel. I have my team in FanDuel, right?
Right.
And I was able to get Captain Kirk at a relatively low price. So I picked him up, bro. That guy went off.
No, listen.
I made mad money in FanDuel because
he
of that guy.
He won me my game this week.
Bro, he went
scored
off.
68 points for me.
That was awesome.
Yeah, no, he came in. Listen, I've been saying this. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, Joel Theismann said it in the preseason. The best quarterback on that roster is Kirk Cousins. RG3 had no business playing anymore. I mean, yeah, he looked great in college and the whole thing, and he had a great year the first year, and they built an offense just for him, and no one had tape on him, and he went out there, ran the ball, and he did his thing the first year. After that, they got tape on him. That's it. He was done for. And, I mean, I kind of feel bad for RG3 a little bit. I mean, even though he is kind of a schmuck, but I kind of feel bad for him because I think his career is over in Washington.
Yeah, yes, I agree that I think his career is over in Washington. We might be maybe, going a little too soon with this, but if Kirk Cousins shows any signs of what he's played recently and what he showed last year at the end of the year, RG3 is not seeing the field anymore. Forget it. Not in Washington. I'll go a step further, and I think he'll be a backup, at some point in time.
RG3?
Yeah. And
Okay.
I think he'll get another chance to start for another team
Yeah,
that
but
might be like on the decline, but I don't think we're ever going to see what people expected
never
from RG3 or what you would expect from a first-round second pick of the NFL draft.
Listen, they traded 3 first-round picks for this guy. All right? Think about that. 3 drafts.
First-round picks?
3 first-round picks were given up to move into that number 2 spot to pick RG3.
Wow.
So, I mean, the expectations for this guy was...
Well, that's the reason why they kept on throwing him out there. They were hoping that...
Right, that he
that
became...
he
They built
yeah.
a brand for him, RG3, marketing him.
But they can't. If Cousins plays the way he's been playing, and I mean, mind you, he played against Philly, and it was a complete shootout. So we're not gonna expect him to do exactly what he did this past week again. But if he stays the way he's been playing,
listen, Week 16 last year,
he played fine.
A lot of people didn't watch that game because
Against
it didn't
Atlanta,
mean
right?
Against Atlanta, yeah. People didn't watch that game because it didn't mean anything, but that was the game. That was the first game that Shanahan put him in because Shanahan already knew what was coming. This is the reason he got fired too, because he liked Cousins over RG3, and now it's coming to relevance that he was right. All right, I saw that game. All right, because I started him in fantasy, and this guy went out there and played like a stud. I mean, Kirk Cousins is the real deal, and people, for some reason, the media doesn't give him that credit. They finally gave it to him this week. But, I mean, it's obvious. You can see he is the best quarterback on the roster.
well, look, Pierre Garçon finally had a good game. Deshaun Jackson had a good game, which is a sign of the quarterback getting his receivers the ball. And RG3 cannot get his guys the ball.
He catches
Bottom
a snap
line.
and throws it.
Yeah.
He's not running around back there. He's not getting cute with the
three-step
ball.
drop, decisions made, fire the ball.
Correct.
You catch it. You do something with it. And the
Yes.
next play, he knows. I agree. And let me tell you, Washington is one of those teams
that can sneak up on you.
They're like the Chargers. If they can get in, yeah.
That's a high-powered offense right now, brother.
They're gonna put some
Deshaun
points on the board.
Jackson, all right. Pierre Garçon.
They'll definitely put some points on the board.
They got
no doubt about it.
They got some rifles on that offense.
What else you got? Any surprises actually, or teams that you thought would do well that are not doing as well?
Well, I mean, I love the fact that Jacksonville's not going to go probably with Blake Bortles.
It's about time.
I mean, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. They're saying that they weren't going to start him.
Well, I think they're going back to what we kind of felt with Tannehill earlier in the show, where maybe he wasn't completely ready, and they don't want to just throw him out there. And we're going to see. I mean, and he looked decent in preseason, but we're going to see now on Sunday. Who they play on Sunday? Jacksonville. I'm going to be watching that because I like Bortles.
Yeah, I want to see him play. It's going to be.
Oh, they play at San Diego at 4:05.
That's
not an easy game.
San Diego's going to kick their ass.
It's not an easy game.
At least you'll see him play. You know what I'm saying? What's another surprise here that I like? Oakland sucks. The Arizona Cardinals. I mean,
that's look.
What is going on there? I mean, it's kind of confusing. They're on top of that division, in a division where you got San Francisco and Seattle. All right, they're 3-0 with a backup quarterback with Drew Stanton.
Yeah,
and they lost Darnell Dockett. I mean, that's kind of weird right now. I don't believe it yet. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm with you. If you look at the team, and we talked about the Arizona Cardinals being one of those teams that could surprise people. As soon as they lost Dockett, we're like, wow, they lost a big piece of the puzzle on defense.
And they lost Carson Palmer.
You would think, okay, middle of the road, maybe 9-7. No, they're 3-0, and they're balling.
No, they're playing amazing football. I mean, for them to go out there and beat the 49ers this weekend was shocking to me. I couldn't think that was going to happen.
Well, it's like what we said. If you're San Francisco and you're playing the Cardinals and they have their backup quarterback, you got to win the game. Yeah. You got to win the game. But the 49ers are struggling because of Kaepernick. Bottom line.
No, Kaepernick right now, you're starting to question whether he can be that guy that they thought he was going to be. New Orleans has been kind of lackadaisical coming out of the start.
Even their game at home this week
was a little shady.
Yeah, I expected to see New Orleans. I was hoping to see New Orleans come out and smack Minnesota like one of those 33-10 games, 37-10, like something like that.
It didn't happen.
And they struggled.
It was a hard-fought win.
And Terry Bridgewater, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, coming in, coming in as the backup in the middle of the game, he made about 4 or 5 throws. He made a very deep out throw to Jennings, and I was like, that's an NFL throw.
I gotta see more of him to judge him. He looks a little undersized to me for some reason.
He does.
When I see him play out there, and I didn't get that vibe from him in college, and now I see him in the NFL, and he just looks undersized. He just doesn't look the part. You know what I mean?
He did. He looked a little. He did look small, but he made, like I said, obviously it's just he played almost 2 quarters and a half or something like that.
Right.
So we definitely got to see more. But I saw him make about 4 or 5 throws in the game, and I was like, okay, all right, those look good. That could work.
I got to see more of his footwork and more of his play to judge. I really don't.
No, absolutely. We're gonna see him this week. And Minnesota's playing against Atlanta at Minnesota. Okay.
All right. And then I think Tampa Bay, I mean, 0-3. Did you expect that?
No, I actually picked them to be a surprise team to make some noise because they played so well at the end of the season last year. And then Lovie Smith is their coach now, who's been a decent coach in the NFL. And like you said, sometimes you have a team that that coach comes in that year and it works, it gels, and they play harder for that guy, and it seems. And they're 0-3, and they got destroyed.
No,
I think that was embarrassing.
I think they're the worst team in the NFL right now. They're worse than Jacksonville, I think.
Yes.
That's a bad team right now. I mean,
they just looked terrible the other night. Really bad.
McCown looked terrible. And then
running backs looked terrible.
Yeah.
Then the defense got smoked.
And they brought Glennon in. He looked terrible, too.
Oh, they're just bad. They're a bad football team right now. But that happens. That happens. In the NFL, things are going to go up and down. So we've done our picks. I think Frank is going to stick now. We're 3 games in, but he still likes Cincinnati to represent the AFC.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cincinnati and the Bears in the Super Bowl.
And the Bears in the Super Bowl. And I still like Seattle in the Super Bowl because I think they'll get home field advantage. And the AFC, I don't know. I don't know who I like there, but I think we might see a repeat Super Bowl if Denver gets home field. If Cincy gets home field, then it could be Cincy.
Watch out for the Chiefs when they get Jamal Charles back. All right?
Their defense is depleted.
Okay, but you still have Andy Reid as a coach, and you can.
Oh, they'll win games,
and you can never just not discount that.
They're gonna win games. There's no doubt about it. They're definitely gonna win games. So yeah, there you go. A little NFL talk. We're gonna get into a little baseball talk now. There's a couple of things I wanna bring up because we are getting close to the playoffs here in baseball, and I'm wondering. I'm one of those guys in baseball where, and we're gonna talk. What I want to talk about is Giancarlo Stanton winning the MVP. Okay. Now I know he hasn't finished the season because of the injury that he had on the face, and I'm gonna ask you for your guys' opinion on this. I'm one of those guys that I feel that the MVP award should be given to a guy who plays every day. Okay, I don't think the MVP award should be given to a guy who pitches every 5 days. That's why we have the Cy Young Award. As good as a season as Clayton Kershaw has had, and my God, that kid is just amazing on the mound. And when he pitches, it's like game over. Great, but that's why you give him the Cy Young. I don't believe that the MVP of Major League Baseball or the National League or etc. should be given to a pitcher. Should be given to a guy who plays every day. I mean, where do you guys stand with this?
I mean, I don't think he's going to get the MVP because he plays for the Marlins. And down here, no one cares about the baseball team. There's a couple of shows on the radio here that just refuse to cover them because of the owner. I think NBC6 did that for a while. They don't cover them. So, I mean, they pretty much have no respect. So the fact that he plays for the Marlins just absolutely kills him. If he'd be playing in another team right now, I think, yes, he would get the MVP. Does he deserve the MVP? I think so. But, I mean, what are you going to do at this point? And not only does he play for the Marlins, but he got his face bashed in, and he couldn't finish the season. So
I think that actually gives him some sympathy points, to be honest with you. I think voters might be like, man, if the guy would have, I think if he would have played throughout the season, he probably would have hit 40 home runs.
Right.
And it's not his fault. I mean, he got beamed in the face. It's not like he's just quitting out there. I mean, what do you think, Frank?
No, you're a broken record with me with the whole Cy Young and MVP. I think Kershaw is probably one of the better players this year, but that's the reason why they have a Cy Young award. Like, everything that you said, I couldn't disagree with you. At the end of the day, I think that they should still give it to Stanton, and I'm not a homer because I'm not a Marlins fan, but I still think they should give it to Stanton because he was producing. He was getting those numbers, and it wasn't his fault at the end of the day that the ball got away from the pitcher and hit him in the face and knocked him out and put him out of commission. The Marlins aren't in first place, but if it wasn't for Giancarlo Stanton, the Marlins wouldn't even be in third place in the NL East. They wouldn't have made it towards a playoff push because they were in the wild card contention for a long time. I mean, it sucks that Jose Fernandez went down too, because who's to say where this team would be with both those guys?
Yeah, Fernandez wins, let's say he goes and he has a decent year. He wins 13 games, 12 games.
If there's anybody else, to go back to the MVP talk, if there's anybody else that would have an opportunity to get the MVP, would probably be McCutchen, because he's made it a push on the back stretch of the season.
He won it last year.
If they're not going to give it to Stanton, though, I think they should give it to, even though I'm saying that a pitcher doesn't deserve the award, I still think they should give it to Kershaw.
Yeah, look, it is what it is. It's either Giancarlo Stanton or Kershaw. There's no one else getting this award. There is no other player. And what I like about Giancarlo Stanton, and I was a person that argued his approach at the plate for years because I felt that he was swinging at bad pitches. I felt that he wasn't prepared at the plate. This year, he finally looked a little bit more prepared. He started to make contact with a lot more hittable balls, which eventually leads to more home runs. He's not swinging at that outside slider he would always swing at. So I'm glad that I was able to see adjustments with him year to year, and I give him credit for that, even though you don't get credit for that for winning the MVP. But also, this guy plays in a lineup with no protection. There's nobody there protecting this guy, all right? Nobody. I mean, he goes up there to bat, and it's like, why pitch to this guy? Walk him and face the other guy. And he still was able to produce, and I agree with Frank, our producer. I think that he should get the MVP. I don't think he will get it. Because of they've interviewed some guys on national radio, on ESPN, on Fox Radio that I listen to.
For the Marlins, you don't hear from him.
And when they ask the baseball guys, they're like, well, my vote will probably go to Kershaw. And I'm like, well, you got to be effing kidding me, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Give this guy the MVP. But he plays in the Marlins.
And that's another thing. Around the country, in other baseball cities, we're not liked because of those 2 World Series titles that we just came up, beat the Yankees and the Indians. I mean, that still has a bad taste in historians' mouths after what that happened. I don't know if you remember.
Well, the fact that we won and then we dissembled it, we just destroyed the team the next year over. Yeah,
exactly.
People don't like that. I mean, Listen, the Marlins are not a well-liked organization around the baseball community. They do things awkward. Look at their uniforms. It's not traditional. Look at their stadium. It's not traditional. It's one of those things that the media doesn't really give them. And we're talking about things that, like I'm saying, it's not traditional. People probably listening to us be like, whoa, what are you talking about? That doesn't make a difference. To baseball historians and people who vote for MVP and all these awards, who are baseball guru guys that really respect the game and have those things of, we play by unwritten rules, that care about that stuff. They really do. They take that shit to the heart. And I hope Giancarlo Stanton can win the MVP. It'll be great for him, but I don't think they will. Our last segment's coming up, and we have our usual What's on Your Mind. I have a couple of good things. I also want to get into something in reference to baseball. You're listening to the O and Frank Noodles Show on SoulFlowRadio.com.
You're listening to SoulFlowRadio.com.
I am the voice of terrestrial radio. Internet radio will not succeed. You will continue listening to sports, right-wing talk, and mayonnaise FM. If you disobey, we will punish you with more right-wing talk, sports, and mayonnaise FM. We are corporate, ergo, we are never wrong. Listen and obey. Listen and obey.
Shut it down, evil foe, for I am SoFlowRadio.com, and I'm here to give back what people want to hear. A variety of entertainment, fresh music, comedy, and different points of view.
I own you.
Oh, your fart-radiating suit and tie don't frighten me, old chum. Behold the power of SoFlowRadio.com.
My balls are falling off.
You only had one, my evil friend. There. Now you'll have to squat to pee. SoFlowRadio.com. Castrating terrestrial radio. One ball at a time.
The O and Frank Noodles Show.
Park was a disaster. Oh, you've been there? The Gadorade?
Gadorade. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's Gatorade.
By the way,
that's Gatorade in Spanish.
Yeah.
Gadorade.
I ordered a Gatorade once, and he goes, Chico, you got un Gadorade? I'm like, what? Look at Franco. What is he talking about? He goes, Gatorade, homie. I was like, what?
Little Havana living, baby.
That was awesome.
The O and Frank Noodles Show. Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. only on SoFlowRadio.com.
Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor with their debut release, Picture This. Featuring You Have My Attention.
Just ask the question.
Go to Facebook.com/Return the Favor. Picture This. Return the Favor. Available on iTunes.
We're back to the O and Frank Noodles Show.
Oh, have you not heard? It was my understanding that everyone had heard.
Heard what?
Brian, don't! Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird, a word, a well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird, a word, a well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird, a word, a well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird, a word.
On SoFlowRadio.com.
Papa uma mau mau, 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 papa uma mau mau. Get the girl them in the zone. Give them the big moan. Shine parliament there, what we tell them on the throne. Locking in just like that. The girl them move on Jack. Shine parliament there. Enrique, sing to them.
So the last segment, who sings this song?
Enrique Iglesias.
Enrique Iglesias.
Con qué?
I gotta give that guy credit though, because he's dated a hot chick for like years.
He went out. And he went out with Michael Jordan's wife before his wife with Yvette.
Well, we know a lot of people that went out with her. So.
Oh my God!
Little shout out there to Yvette Prieto.
Bam. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But dude, this guy's like he's hooked up with this chick forever,
Yeah.
and as like she doesn't even talk. Like No, she doesn't want to get married. As long as that guy's in her life, she's happy. Awesome. Let's give this guy credit.
Yeah. No, awesome.
That's pretty dope.
Awesome.
He's handled it well. So our last segment usually is what's on your mind, and we talk a little bit about everything, things personal, things that have happened to you in the street. Like Frank got run off the street one day by a car, and he got mad, gave the guy a middle finger, and I've had issues with my dog at home eating socks. So it's just whatever. It's just about life. But I do want to talk a little bit about sports today. My thing's about sports, but it has a little bit of life thing into it. Is the second baseman, Gilder Rodriguez, got his first major league hit last night.
Who does he play for?
For the Texas Rangers.
Okay.
He's been in the minor leagues for 13 years. Okay.
Wow, that's a grind.
I've had a couple of my friends that have played minor league baseball, and I've asked them, would you have played minor league ball for 13 years? They're like, no way. There's not enough money you could have. Well, yes, there's enough money you could pay, but like what they get paid in the minors and what they go through, the grind, the bus rides, the mission,
the cheese wagons,
bro. You gotta love the game of baseball, and I was happier than anybody you could imagine last night when they played us on ESPN and this guy got his first hit and his father was there and they hugged at the end. I was like, dude, that's a great story.
No, that's amazing. I mean, to play minor league ball for 13 years, you roll around in those cheese wagons and those empty stadiums.
That has to be a disaster.
Horrible food. I mean, how do you don't turn into a meth addict playing that after like 3 or 4 years?
Most guys don't last, 3-4 years max, and then they're like, all right, either I got a shot or I don't.
I mean, and I'm assuming also that if you play single A or double A, it's worse accommodations than triple A.
Yeah, as you go up in class, the accommodations do get a little bit better.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's still bus rides, but yeah, if you're like in single A or like low A, it's a disaster. Even some of the fields, you're like, what is this? It's
yeah. I mean, to play that for 13 years, you could just tell his love for the game, and you got to be absolutely happy for the guy.
No doubt, and the fact that he got his first hit, I give him a lot of props for that, and it was a cool story. So if you haven't seen it, check it out on ESPN.com and check it out. You'll find it to be a good story. But the other thing is that I have a problem with Major League Baseball, and dude, this is the thing that I guess I'm gonna be biased here because I am a Yankee fan and I'm a huge Derek Jeter fan, and I have no clue why their last series is in Boston. And why not have his last game on Sunday be at Yankee Stadium? What? What is going on there? Like, come on, dude. Everybody knew it was his last year. Change the schedule.
They could have just changed it. Like, at the All-Star break, they could have changed it.
Just reverse it. I don't know. Whatever, dude. I don't know. I just don't see it.
The last game in Fenway.
And his biggest rivalry.
Right. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Which I don't question the Boston fans, because the Boston fans, they're baseball fans. So they're going to show up, and I'm more than sure that they're going to give a very warm applause to Jeter. And I have confidence in them that they'll do the right thing for Derek Jeter, because he's a class act. And at the end of the day, Boston fans understand that, what happens on the field happens on the field. They're going to respect him for what he's done. But, dude, his last game should be at Yankee Stadium. That's it.
Let me ask you guys a question. I mean, baseball right now is going to lose probably the last remaining icon rock star that they have in Jeter. Who is next in line? I mean, you guys are more baseball guys than I am. Who is next in line? Like, once Jeter leaves, who do you think becomes the face of baseball? Because he's the face of baseball right now.
Right now,
it's Mike Trout.
Mike Trout.
Right
Mike Trout is just unreal. 5-tool, absolute stud.
Right.
Young, he's 22, 23 years old. I mean, the kid is just.
Is he charismatic like that? Like Jeter
yeah,
is?
He's got a great attitude. He's fun. He's not too much of a serious guy.
Right.
He's one of those guys that he just comes out, enjoys playing the game, plays at 100 miles an hour. He's the type of kid that you definitely want. If your son's a baseball player, you want your kid to try to play like him and act like him. Clayton Kershaw, the pitcher of the Dodgers, even though like when he pitches, he's so focused and so like it's almost eerie how he is when he pitches and compared to when he doesn't pitch. But that kid on the mound is unreal. I mean, unreal. I have MLB The Innings, and I told you that actually I watch the Dodger games because I love listening to Vince Scully, and I'm kind of a Dodger fan hiddenly, but I have my Dodger hat. And I went to LA and I watched the game, but when I watch him pitch, it's like you're watching art. I mean, he's unreal. He's almost unhittable sometimes. It's crazy.
But Jeter has put a bar so high that nobody's ever gonna be the caliber that Jeter is, not playing wise, but I mean teammate wise. Like nobody's gonna hold that standard again of the captain.
I agree, right. Again, I'm a huge Derek Jeter fan. This guy's probably one of my favorite athletes of all time. It's also where he played at.
Yeah, with the Yankees.
I mean, he took his position as the shortstop of the New York Yankees and he maximized everything you could possibly maximize at that position. Media. Forget about being on the field. Just being in that scenario, being in New York, being the starting shortstop of the New York Yankees and winning World Series, that guy did everything you could possibly do in New York City. And he exercised the media to the fullest.
No.
Never caught any problems, never did anything. And he used those guys. He almost reversed it. The media always attacks the players. He just used them and built up this brand that's just
right. Well, I think one of the most impressive things that he did was he went through that entire steroid era as a star without a blemish on him, which I think is pretty amazing considering the climate of baseball during that time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and look, Andrew McCutcheon's another guy that I think Major League Baseball is trying to use as the face of baseball, and it's because he's one of the few African Americans that actually are one of the top players in the league, and Major League Baseball is trying to reach out more to that right now and trying to push that. If you notice, the Little League Baseball team that was from Chicago, that was predominantly all black, they were all black kids, were pushed heavily on TV because Major League Baseball is trying to get the African community into Major League Baseball because of players like McCutcheon. They're talented players, but they choose, obviously, it's easier to, football, basketball, the sports that they're more catered to.
Right.
So, but Andrew McCutcheon is one of those guys that's a solid baseball player, a good guy, stand-up guy, plays hard every day, a young guy that also, but to the stature of Derek Jeter,
yeah, that's not gonna be. It's kind of like a Jordan. You don't really get those players.
Nah, they come once.
They come once in an era.
Yeah,
and that's it. I gotta wait 10, 15 years. For another
you're
player
talking about complete package.
Right.
Not only just talent on the field or in your sport. We're talking about complete
as
package.
A role model, as everything.
He's hard to top, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the people that have come out and done videos of his career recently. Gatorade, okay, Nike, but you have guys in that commercial. You have arguably the best athlete to ever play any sport in Michael Jordan standing by this guy's side. That enough tells you what this guy means to the sport of baseball and to sports in general.
Speaking of commercials, were you able to see the new commercial?
Yeah, the Gatorade one.
Touching. Like, I got choked up and everything. Were you able to see it?
I haven't seen it. I've only
it's
seen it. It's
fantastic, bro.
Oh, we're going to see it now when we get off the air.
I got to see it.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And I just don't know where Major League Baseball goes from here with, like you said, is there anybody out there? Mike Trout is the only guy, me and Frank said at the same time, I think that has the capability of being that type of player.
Derek Jeter is the epitome of what a professional athlete should be. He's not only a great person on the field, he's a great person off the field. He's great and very nice to all his fans, which is awesome. Because I went on a tangent on Saturday morning. You got people like Tiger Woods that they don't even want to sign an autograph because they know that you're going to go and sell it, and they have the attitude of, I don't want you to make money off me. Bro, you looked up to people when you grew up. People look up to you now.
Yeah,
Sorry, it comes with the territory.
Yeah, it's douchey.
Absolutely.
Beckett's another one that's like that. He's a douche.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Josh Beckett.
Josh Beckett, yes.
Bro, you're a baseball player, bro. Your job is to have fun. A kid walks up to you, wants an autograph, give the kid an autograph. Don't just turn your face and just walk away.
I agree. You brought up a good point. Frank, our producer, brought up a good he read something on I guess they're on the computer. Can you tell us what you read real quick?
What was that?
About the Miami Dolphins?
Oh, okay. So the breaking news that came out about half an hour ago was that the players were told that Tannehill would be starting against Oakland at London.
Awesome.
Yay. No one cares.
Great news.
Yeah.
For me to poop on.
Exactly.
No, but we have to let people know that's what we heard. So, all right, enough Tannehill talk. So, Frank, what do you got? What's on your mind?
What's on my mind? Have you guys seen the leaked photos of the celebrities?
Yes. You've shown them to me.
You have?
You have, yes.
Right. Well,
entertaining at best, no?
No, very entertaining. I mean, what's on my mind is, wow, Hope Solo has an ugly vagina. Jesus Christ. I mean, how do you take a picture of that thing? It almost looks like the plant from like Little Shop of Horrors that will come on and go say, feed me, feed me. I mean, did you get a view of the size of the meat lips on that chick?
It's
Jesus
Christ. It's definitely not intact.
Oh my God. Why would you photograph that thing? I mean, wouldn't you like try and like hide it a little bit? Like put your, you know what I'm saying? Like put your hand over it or something like that? No, it was just shot out, standing over, just blah in your face.
What's up with all these celebrities taking all these pictures like that, bro?
Dude,
Like that's something like you would expect coming out maybe out of the trailer
It's-
park or something like that.
It's the era that we live in right now. This
is what girls do now.
Yeah.
This is what girls do now.
Yeah, like
everybody communicates through phone and text. People don't
Yeah.
talk, so they send you pictures of their vagina.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like a cool thing. Like, hey, here,
Yeah.
I'm here. I just got a shower. Here, bam, and it's just.
I mean, as ugly as her vagina was, which I'm looking at here, and it's pretty bad. If any of our listeners want to see her vagina, just call in. I'll send you the link if you want. But I mean, the most entertaining out of all the girls that were shown was Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, wow, for as innocent as she portrays herself. I mean, dude, there's some pictures here that, I mean, you just have to look at. I mean, she gets caught. I mean, it looks on one of them here. It looks like she got a pie to the face. Yeah, it looks like they got a like.
She ordered a cocktail, hold a tail.
Yes. I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, and I can never look at this girl the same.
But let me ask you a question.
I mean, as innocent as she looks,
these pictures were leaked through iCloud. Is that
right?
Yeah, somebody hacked into the iCloud.
What this guy wants to show you pretty much is that whatever you put on your phone is not yours. All right, there's someone right now that can tap into your phone and see everything that you have on there. Okay, so nothing is safe on your phone. If you texted something or wrote something or took a picture of something, there's a file of you somewhere where someone can tap in and bring that back, even if you deleted it. Some of the pictures here from Jennifer Lawrence are from like 6-7 years ago. So I mean, she's kind of freaked out about it, but I don't know. She's probably one of the celebrities with the most naked pictures. This chick is always naked, and she has a messy ass room too, because I see shoes all over the place there. There's flowers on the floor.
With the picture in the middle, how are you noticing all the details around what the centerfold of the picture
Because
is?
look at this picture, dude. Look how much stuff is all over the place back there.
It's hard to look at because I'm
Yeah.
not focusing on that.
Yeah. Gabrielle Union is also on here. Her pictures aren't as bad, but I mean, she's got a nice booty though.
She can get it.
Gabrielle Union she's packing. All right.
Dwayne Wade's having fun with that.
Yeah. Kim K. Well, we've seen her naked a few times. If you've seen the Ray J video,
Ray J made her whole family famous.
yeah, there's really not need to explain that. But yeah, dude, if you put something on your phone, like it's out there somewhere. It's in a satellite somewhere, and they can access it whenever they want. Supposedly there's more pictures coming out on other celebrities. I want to see J-Lo.
Oof. Did
Yeah.
you see the video?
Yeah, with Iggy Azalea.
Wow,
that's a great video.
Wait,
have you seen
video?
that, Frank?
What video is this?
It's a video that came out about a week ago with Jennifer Lopez and Iggy Azalea, and
Like a Kim Kardashian video?
no, like not a Kim Kardashian, like a Nicki Minaj video.
Oh.
You saw the Anaconda video, right?
Yeah.
Well, that same style.
Oh my.
It's Iggy Azalea and Jennifer Lopez just pretty much rubbing their asses together. There's sweat all over the place, and it's a pretty nice video.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I saw the other day. Actually, my wife was looking. I was like, "Hey, let me see that."
Yeah.
Right? Hey, what are you looking at there?
Yeah.
Pretty interesting stuff. So, Frank, do you have anything you want to talk about?
I got a fantasy question. I'm 3-0 on my league, so I want to
Okay.
stay undefeated. So I
Okay.
either can start Ben Roethlisberger against the Bucks or Aaron Rodgers against the Bears.
The Bucks. The Pittsburgh game is in Pittsburgh.
The Pittsburgh game is in Pittsburgh, and after seeing how Atlanta went off on the Bucks, makes me want to kind of go towards Roethlisberger. But then, how do you turn your back on Aaron Rodgers?
Do you have anybody like a Jordy Nelson on your team that you get a teeter connection if that happens, or no? You don't have the teeter connection?
No, I don't.
Because that always makes a big point there. Wow. I would look at weather because we might have rain coming up.
What was his question? Because my phone is blowing up here with people wanting me to send them the pictures of.
So Roethlisberger.
we have a bunch of sickos as listeners, is what we have.
It's Roethlisberger against the Bucks, or it's Aaron Rodgers against the Bears. Both passing defense look awful.
Where's that
Aaron
Aaron?
Roethlisberger against the Bucks.
Yeah.
And who?
Aaron Rodgers against the Bears. And I think it's in Green Bay.
I'm going to go with Big Ben there.
That's what I'm thinking.
The only reason why I like Rodgers is because I think Pittsburgh might be up by a lot and they're going to run the ball. So it'll be game over by then. I think the Green Bay-Chicago game will be a shootout, especially that the DBs of the Chicago Bears kind of got hurt last night and they're out with Tillman. So I think you might get a shootout. So if you're thinking about fantasy, I look for the shootout. I'd probably take Aaron Rodgers.
That's my fear.
Nah, I'm going with Big Ben, bro. Tampa Bay is done for, I think. You can stick a fork in them. I think they might win 2 games this year. And I'm going with Big Ben, bro. I like the way that team throws the ball.
I'm going to flip a coin.
Flip a coin. All right, guys, so this is it. We'll be back on the air next Tuesday. You're listening to the O and Frank Noodles Show on SoulFlowRadio.com. You can also listen to us on TuneIn, that app. You can listen to us at any time the rest of the week. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Take it easy.
From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoulFlowRadio.com.